Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 11th Fandom Feels Book Club. We're getting very close to a year, and we're really excited this week because we're talking about a book that we all genuinely fangirled. And that doesn't happen often. There are books that we like a lot. There are books that, one of us really likes and another isn't too sure and another's kind of in the middle. But this one was kind of a big deal for all of us, I would say. So I am joined today by Nat
Hello.
and Ellie.
Hi.
And you can join us as well. You can follow along either in the YouTube comments or on Twitter with the hashtag FandomFeels. Any good commentary that we get throughout the book club, we will be sharing with you, and we'll be happy to discuss some of your questions. So throw them at us. All right. So I want to start with something I've told you guys, but it's just really important to me because I think it explains how excited I was about this book. Essentially, I have a rule when it comes to new books, especially new books that I know are going to be the start of a multiple book series, even if it's just a duology like this one. And it's akin to never kissing on the first date. I never give a book 5 stars when it's the first in the series because it's 5 stars for a setup, right? Usually, kind of, right? No. This book was like, the second I read it, yes, this is 5 stars. Oh my god, I loved it. So, how was this for you guys?
I will say, Kate, you actually terrified me before I got a chance to read this one because, you told me I was going to be absolutely obsessed, which I'm obsessed with a lot of books, but people don't usually predict my obsessions. They just kind of happen. And the last time somebody told me I was going to be obsessed with a book was actually The Hunger Games. And my life has basically been downhill from there. So I was terrified to read this book because of what it basically had to live up to. But holy crap. This book was like, whenever I talk about it, I'm like, it's just flawless. I love this book. And
What
it's
about
so pretty too. Like, look at these pages.
It is a beautiful book on top of being a beautiful book. Like, inside and out, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I got the arc, and so I read it way back in the summertime after getting it, and I was pretty, I was overwhelmed with it. I don't usually give first books 5 stars either. And it's kind of like the same thing with Kate, where I don't know. I gotta find out what the next book is first before I can really give it the, either a 4-star or 5-star. But if it's a really good book, I'll give it 4 stars or stuff. But Six of Crows definitely deserved 5 stars. And if I gave it a 4-star earlier and changed it, I might have changed it. If I didn't change it yet, it's definitely 5 stars. But yeah, I loved it. There's like, for me, I get really I don't know if it's attached or emotional, but I do get like, yeah, emotional about characters and stuff, and like, if I connect with them really well, then I really there are certain scenes that really get to me sometimes and such, and so yeah, I definitely love a story. It did have that feel of like Ocean's 11, but it's so different. It's so different from that though too, and the characters are really well thought out and diverse, and it's so good.
It was an Ocean's 11 feel, but with a completely different actual plot.
Yes, that is important.
Yeah. And one more thing about just my pure love of this book. So we are now at the very end of 2015. I have read 101 books this year. 101. I'm probably not going to finish the book I'm currently reading by the end of this year, but maybe 102. We'll see. But I think, don't quote me on this, because, again, I've read 101 books this year. I think this is my favorite book that I've read this year.
I think that says a lot.
Yes.
And one thing that kind of started us all off, because we've all read the Grisha series, is that this world, while not exactly the same, ties in really interesting ways. And essentially, the main plot point revolves around Jurda Param, or that's how I'm going to pronounce that.
Yes.
Param, which is this kind of super drug that it wasn't meant to be so, but like most scientific discoveries, was meant to be one thing, turned out to be another, and it was meant to help tame the Grisha powers, and it actually expands them like to wild levels. But it's also extremely addictive and really, really bad for the Grisha. It can kill them very easily, but in the meantime, it makes them like powerful beyond reason. And our whole journey starts thanks to that. Our main character is Kaz, who most people know as Dirty Hands, because he always wears gloves, and so, I don't know, people assume his hands are really filthy. Um, no, it's more metaphorical than anything, but still amuses me.
Sorry.
It does. And, and he is kind of a leader, though not the official leader of
The
the
Crow's Nest.
the Crow Club, which
Crow
is
Club.
well, the Crow Club is their home base, but the gang is the Dregs, and they're in Ketterdam, which is this little island society that is in the world of the Grisha, and we do hear about it in there, but it's not a main point of that storyline. And so Kaz is told that he's told that about Jurdaparam, and that there's a scientist that's being held in the foreign country of, help me out here, girls,
Gerda?
Ferda. That's how we're going to pronounce that one. It's a fun game.
How to pronounce words in Fantasyland? I'm just kidding. Yeah, Gerda, I believe it's called.
Ferda. And that scientist has been taken there to be killed for creating this drug. However, there are lots of other people who have some high and mighty interests in this scientist, and therefore, Kaz has been asked to get together a gang and go out and retrieve him from the ice court, which is like
Their
the top
maximum
government facility
security.
with more security than anything that any country in the real world could possibly imagine going on. Who isn't afraid to shoot to kill? Go in there, just grab the scientist and get out unharmed. No big, right? Like, except it's almost certain death.
Yeah.
So, going into this, we have our 6 people. It's Kaz and the 5 people who he recruits for the mission. We have Inez, Jesper, Nina, Matthias, and Wylan. All right. Who was your favorite of the 6, and why?
That would be for me. Wow, I'm echoing. Sorry. That would be for me, Kaz. Kaz Brecker. He's the one that a lot of Well, he just is. I'm like, he's just too cool. I'm like, at first I didn't like him though. I'll say this: at first, in the beginning, I didn't like him. He was really ruthless, and then you find out throughout the story why he's that way. How he ended up being in Ketterdam and in the barrel, and how why he became Dirty Hands. And so, like, the more you knew about him, the more I knew about him, the more I just loved this character. And it's not like I'm like him or anything, but I love his character just because of that. You do get to know all about him. You do with all of them, but for his story to me just was just, I guess, more powerful for me or more emotional for me. So yeah, Kaz, definitely.
What about for you, Ellie?
So I got really nervous as I was about to meet Leigh Bardugo because I knew she was gonna like ask me that question, and I was like, I love all of them. I don't know who to say. Um, I went with Inej, and I can't even explain why. Like, I love all of the characters so much. I think I just connected a little bit more with Inej than the other ones. Um, I don't. I can't even. I love all of them. But I mean, part of it is like she's female, and that's easier for me to relate to on its own. And I guess I felt like I was more like her than Nina. So it was more of a connection thing than just an admiration thing because I really loved all of them a lot.
I can say I don't think that I really connected with her in any way because I am decidedly not a badass. But
Well,
Inez was also my favorite because I just I felt for her on so many levels. Um, you really get a great story for all these characters, which we'll get into in a minute. But besides that, she really, first of all, she's like super talented, can just like climb up buildings, flip over anything.
you
She's
can't do that.
no, believe it or not, no. And she's tough as nails. She puts up with a lot of stuff that most people would never even dream of dealing with. And she's come out of the fire stronger than before. It's not that she doesn't have any weakness, but she handles it in a way that makes you really root for her. And I can't explain it. She's just a glorious character. And as much as I did love Kaz, he's probably my second favorite. There was something about Inez's vulnerability, and she was just wonderful. So, so delving into the backstories a little more, we do get them for pretty much all six characters. Was there any character that you liked the backstory of more than the others?
I really liked Cass's backstory. In that, I mean, I didn't like it because it was terrible, but I liked it.
It was terrible, but like
I
you
liked
feel
it in
for
that it
him.
was terrible. Yeah,
Yeah, you like pain.
I do like pain. Yeah.
So yeah, that would make sense that you would like that. I actually do. I love. Well, that's the reason why I love him. I do love his backstory too. It's horribly sad, and I just want him to find some kind of happiness. That's where you know me. I like happy endings. That's my thing. So, if there's a backstory that's horrible and the person finds some kind of peace or, some kind of plus in his life, Inej, then yeah, I
Yeah.
so I do like his backstory the most. And yeah.
Yeah, I am. I think when it comes to the tragic backstory angle, the one that hits you in the feels, that Cass has that cornered. But I'm also really intrigued by the backstory that's led up to the current situation for Nina and Matthias,
Right?
because it's just kind of insane. Going back to the fact that this is all part of the Grishaverse, Nina is a name that is dropped in the original trilogy. You may not have noticed this, but I think it's actually pretty awesome. Um,
I think
and
yeah, because like I could swear that she was like in the first book, and
as like a background character, like
yeah, well, she was like Zoya. Her and Zoya were like friends, but then they brought Zoya in more, and then Nina was like nowhere to be found after that.
mhm. And this book kind of describes Zoya as if she was the mentor for Nina in a lot of ways. So it makes sense. And Nina was captured, and Matthias was going to bring her into Freuda. Is that how
Fierda.
it's Freuda? I never get. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Freud. Uh, Freudian response here.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ferda, and no, I can't even talk. To have her executed, because in Ferda, being a Grisha, having these powers is a criminal offense. It's Ferda is essentially a no-fly zone for the supernatural. They they don't believe in it. They think that it's all evil and it's all out to get them, and so they better
Basically,
kill
they're
it
like
before it
considered like
kills them.
witches.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's a witch hunt.
Hmm.
and like
But
Fierdas, like Fierdans are like those witch hunters, and they just, there's no good in them. They're
mhm,
kind of demonic and stuff. That's what he calls her too, I think, in their language, a demon.
mhm.
And it's yeah, it's a nice story there.
Yay, Matthias! Sorry.
So from that point, of course, Matthias has a chance apart because Nina and him, even though they have this really prickly relationship, end up kind of falling for each other, and he decides maybe I won't turn this girl in to be slaughtered. That might be a bad idea.
Hmm. Do
And
you
then,
think?
in a cruel twist of fate, she goes up and has him arrested.
For being a slave trader.
And he, goes to jail for several years
Brilliant idea, Nina.
until Cass and the gang break him out for the mission. So that to me was just so much going on there. And that's one of essentially three relationships, at least I can only think of three, that are kind of presented in this book. Which one was your favorite to root for?
I mean, I love all of them. Again. I think I fangirled the most for Inej and Kaz.
I think I agree, and it's because you see the vulnerability in both of them quite a
Yeah.
bit, and I really that part of that relationship dynamic is what made me love Inej. I don't
I
have
agree
the
with
exact
that.
quote, but
Yeah.
there's a moment when she says something along the lines of "I will have you without your armor, or I will not have you at all," because she knows that he's holding back his secrets from her. And I was like, yes, this is the kind of relationship I want to see, where even if I feel like even if it doesn't necessarily work out, which God, I hope it does.
I will have you without armor, Casbrecker. I will not have you at all.
Do you have it underlined?
It's not my book, but mine is in Virginia, and this is in New Jersey right now. Then give me a reason to stay. She's like silently begging him, give me a reason.
Oh.
And he can't.
But like I said, we also have Nina and Matthias, and then we have Jesper and Wyland, which the more I read this, because it's like older kind of slick guy, kind of picking on the younger but much smarter
It's
kid.
so cute.
And it's adorable. They have this wonderful dynamic that I think a lot of our authors try to replicate and fail to replicate.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not replicate, but have tried to create and fail to create.
He's just funny. He has this really flirtatious attitude whenever it comes to
Jesper?
Wyland. Yeah, Jesper does, and it's so funny.
For like
He
half
always
the book,
embarrasses the kid.
I feel like for like 3/4 of the book, you think he's just joking the whole time,
Oh yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, he's serious.
Like there's that one, like I skimmed over one part and it was funny because it was Wyland and he's like trying to whisper to Jesper. He's like, Jesper, he's like trying to tell him something and Jesper's like, I can't hear you, or he says no, you can't kiss me from up there or something like that, and he's just, they're in a situation where it's like, shut up or you're gonna get caught and stuff, and it was just funny how Jesper just makes light of every situation.
That's what did it. When like you think that Wyland is in danger, and Jesper is like completely freaking out.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it happens a couple of times, and of course in the end, which is an interesting twist. Yeah, but
we won't go there yet. We will get there. I think we should bide our time.
But I just wanted to emphasize the whole thing with Kaz and Inej is that I like theirs, I think, the most because, there are times when he says something to her and he makes it sound like she's an investment or an investment. And when he really does care about her. And he uses his, he doesn't, of course, show his feelings, but that's just how he feels about her. It's not just about saving her, his investment. It's about actually saving her life because he cares about her so much. So cute. I love it. Love it.
I think it's also my enjoying pain that makes me love that couple so much, though.
Of course.
Because it hurts so much, but it's so much fun.
Yeah. And then you want one of them to die.
What?
I'm just kidding.
All right. So we're not going there yet. Where we're going to go right now is everyone essentially is chosen because, in my best Liam Neeson voice, they have a very particular set of skills.
Oh my
that was
god!
horrible. It was terrible.
Nice try. Nice try.
Whose are your favorite?
Whose skills?
Yes. And why?
Can I say all of them?
That's cheating.
I think I have to go with Inej again, because she's just like silent. And it's like she can do anything she wants absolutely silently and nobody sees her coming. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. I do like hers a lot, but I'm also, if I had to choose a secondary, because hers probably are my first, I'm also really drawn to Jasper because he's just like a badass with a couple of guns who kind of just takes everyone out without trying. And normally I don't support that in representation at all, but I'm like, no, I actually like that quite a bit with him because he's just like the real. What about you, Nat?
Sorry if I'm echoing. I like Jasper's. I know it's plain, it's simple, it's sharpshooter, but I was a sharpshooter in high school, so I have a thing about um, shooters and stuff. So yeah, I like that. Um, I mean, they're all cool, but yeah, Jasper is kind of like, you know, like I said, simple and plain, but a nice talent. They're all talented. I do like them all, though. I wouldn't mind having Wyland's knack for I don't know what.
Things.
Well, it's not just that, but he knows like mechanics of things.
Mhm.
Like he's an engineer type of person, so that's admirable. I guess I'm thinking about things in terms of like real life because obviously I wouldn't mind being a heart render either, but I know that just won't happen
What?
here.
That was
It
my
won't
plan for
happen in this world.
tomorrow.
In this world.
That was my
In
plan
our
for
world.
tomorrow. Become a heart render.
Okay, Miss Heartrender.
I feel like Nina has the distinct advantage, and someone probably should have chosen her skills because she is a heartrender. But
It's less badass though
when you
because
have
it's
a
like
character,
natural.
yeah, when you have a character that like does magic essentially, for to dumb it down a little bit, just does her magical thing, and we're all like, but no, there are characters we like way more. And I think it's almost because they
Like there are
don't.
people that had to work for their skills.
I honestly think that's part of it. It's like some of us had to train to get where we are. Okay.
Exactly. Hello. Don't get good this good in overnight.
But she's still really wonderful. Which brings us to the ice court, to the thick of the story, where once we get into the action, it just does not stop. And every chapter, it feels like there's another huge twist.
Yeah.
All right.
But here's the thing, and like I think this is what made this book so amazing, is there are all of these twists and turns that you don't see coming, yet once they happen, they make perfect sense.
Yes.
Nothing comes out of nowhere. Like they do, but then in hindsight, you're like, oh, duh. So I found that impressive.
Yeah. And I know it's a really hard question. And I feel like it's one we're going to end up lingering on, but I have to ask. What was your favorite twistiest twist of all?
Okay.
And then we can get into seconds and thirds if we need to.
My initial reaction is the tree. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That hole at the tree that they escaped through. Which, because it was like at a moment when you thought everything was lost. And Kaz is just like, oh, I have a plan for you. Awesome. So I think, yeah, that's my initial reaction. However, when I think about it, there's also the Messiah one, if you know what I'm talking about. The throwing Nina in jail.
Yes.
And then him just being like, what, you thought that was real? Oh my god.
Yeah. What about for you, Nick? Do you have any?
The twistiest twisty twist is for me probably was at the end when Nina had made Wylan into Kuwei Yulbo, and um, so to trick Jan Van Eyck to thinking that that was Kuwei that he had instead of his own son, and that was a twisty thing for me that I would I liked because like it kind of sucks too because like you don't know if Wyland's gonna go back to being to looking like Wyland again, and of course there's that little shippy ship thing afterwards too in regards to Jesper and Wyland, and so um, I think that was my favorite twisty twist.
I'm thinking of
um,
Jesper's reaction.
in there, yeah.
You just mentioned his reaction in there, and Ellie starts
I
crying.
know.
That's why this was my favorite book of the year. I'm like, just the conversation they turned into a total fangirl about 3 different couples. Like that
I
doesn't
know.
happen.
But it happened in here
I
because
know.
Leigh Bardugo is like a genius.
I know.
She's like
Oh.
a perfect genius.
These aren't even people I would like. Like these aren't good people.
No,
Well, of
that's
course not.
But I'm obsessed with all of them.
That's like my favorite twisty, but the worst twist the one that I hated because it's just heart wrenching, is when both Jordy and Kaz fell for that trick that Pekka did, and then it ended up like basically killing Jordy and then bringing Kaz to become Kaz because that was like I hated it, but I mean obviously there has to be a reason why Kaz is the way he is, and it makes sense, but I just didn't like it anyway.
and it's just so much crueler because Pekka knows him as an adult or as a in his late teens and doesn't
Yeah,
recognize that he's the same kid.
yeah, because he's probably done it a million times and he doesn't care.
And he
Yeah.
was just a kid.
Yeah, he was like
Maybe like 9.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, something like that.
And then having there's like so many things that was so bad with Kaz's backstory, and it was just like that's why he's become my favorite. But I'm just like, oh my gosh, how can you write this stuff? If you're an
I know.
author, man, you kind of have to be ruthless when you're writing your characters. And it's crazy. Anyways, moving on.
I think my favorite twist was also a cool one.
A
It
what?
was my favorite twist was also a cruel one. I'm sorry, there's a bit of an echo. I was having trouble kind of keeping track of where I was. Um, and it's when they're in the ice court, and for some reason, Inej gets stopped. She kind of gets made. Nina doesn't. She goes through. And she ends up with the group from the menagerie, which was the pleasure house, the brothel that she used to work at. And before Kaz had kind of saved her from that life. And she's facing, I'm going to say it's Tante Helene, who is the woman who owns it. And you really think she's been caught, she's gonna get dragged back into this life, and it's just the worst moment ever. And then it turns out she just did it to steal Tante Helene's giant necklace and take the diamond so they could use the diamond to drill through the wall to get out. I was like, what is this madness? It's brilliant, but it's madness.
Yep.
That one killed me quite a bit. All right. So we're kind of getting toward the end. So I want your opinions on this, and I hope it doesn't cause too much trouble. But we have There are 6 of crows, but we only have 5 narrators. We never hear from Wylan in this book.
Right.
What does it mean?
I mean, I think obviously that was done on purpose because, like, we're not supposed to know his whole story until the end. So if we were, like, hearing in his head the whole time, we would have had some backstory that would have given things away that we're not supposed to know. Because, like, we didn't know who he actually was until the end, right? We didn't know he was what's his name's son.
No, we know.
We
We
knew
We
the
know
whole
that
time.
beforehand.
Did we?
Yeah.
Kaz knew. The others didn't, but Kaz knew.
No, he told him.
We know.
Oh, yeah.
He
Yes.
told the crew. He's like the reason
I read this
that was
wrong.
the reason why they hired him on because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like everybody meet Wyland Van Eck because he's our guarantee that we're gonna get the 30 million
There were
cruise.
things. Okay, maybe. Okay, then it was his like relationship with his father. I know there was like something specific to his past
I
that
don't
we
think there
weren't supposed to know
until,
until the end.
until
I
the
think it
very
was his
end we weren't
relationship.
sure why he was estranged from his family.
Right.
That's what we find out is that he can't read, and so I guess
Oh, duh, so he couldn't write either. Just kidding.
yeah
Like,
he
he
couldn't read,
couldn't
so that's
write
why
for the book, obviously.
I like there's always like a strategy to who's telling the story and the points of view and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess it was the whole idea of like the the reason is that he can't read and that would have probably been a dead giveaway when Kaz gives him the letter,
Hmm.
but when you read it from Wyland's point of view, he'll already let you know, hey, I can't read, and you can't it's hard to explain not reading the letter and not thinking of that in your thoughts or in that point of view.
Yeah,
So
I
I
wonder
guess
if it was one of those things that could have been worked around though. Like, the character doesn't expressly have to say, "Oh, I can't read." If he
well no, but just even like the thoughts of if he had read the letter, what did it say? And I don't
But
know.
like, but if that specific part of the story wasn't from his point of view, and it was other things that kind of like gave the tiny hints that why his father, I've always been a disappointment to my father, but nothing really more specific than that. Then when it came out the end, it would have been for me even more like whoa. But
But he would have been thinking, like, oh, my father doesn't care about me. This isn't going to mean anything, blah, blah, blah.
he does say that in the
Towards
book
the end.
when they say they're gonna try to use him kind of as excuse me while I scratch my back. They're going to use him kind of as their guarantee. He essentially tells them, "My father's not gonna save my life for 30 million kurds because he really doesn't even care."
Yeah, but I guess him saying it, Kaz still thinks that, you know, the connection between a father and son, there's still something there.
Hmm.
But obviously,
I
it
mean,
doesn't, you don't realize how much it isn't there and how cruel his father is until the end.
the
When basically
other,
he used that letter to taunt him, which is horrible.
yeah.
Like
I mean,
his father is a horrible person. I don't think any of us are doubting that, at least, especially after that ending.
the other option is just that if his if his narration had been there the whole time, we would have noticed its absence in the part where he was hidden as like he was pretending to not be him.
Oh yeah, that's a
And
good.
then so we would have either noted that all of a sudden he wasn't narrating anymore, or he would have been narrating and we would have known that. So it could have been all in preparation for that period of time when he was in hiding. And then we wouldn't notice the difference because we didn't hear from him the entire book.
True. The ending was really exciting, and also like there's so many twists throughout, but that was like twist upon twist upon twist.
Right.
Because, we have what Van Eyck is doing, and then we have Nina's twist, and then Van Eyck does something else, and it's like you lose hope, and then you regain hope, and then you lose it again, and it burns. But it was a really effective ending for me, knowing that there was another book. Did you guys feel the same way?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just glad that it's a duology instead of a trilogy. I don't know how much more I can take of these trilogies. So yeah, I am very happy there's another book. And it's funny how Kaz is talking about how he has to get his woman back so he can free her. Well, I like the fact that he actually used my girl. It's so cute. Kaz is not cute, but it's just I just like how he used that term, and to say that, and yet knowing that he feels like he can't be with her, or that he doesn't deserve her, but
it's not even that. It's just
release,
to let her touch him. Sorry.
To let her go, even after that, So it's like it's kind of like, okay, so I'm going into the next territory, so yeah, just so you know.
All right, so how about let's go there. Let's just go there. I feel like we've hit a very good point in all this. What are the predictions for Book 2, which will be called Crooked Kingdom?
I don't know about the predictions. I'm just wondering though about what, if he is actually going to, if they're actually just going to separate, or if he's going to let her go, or
no.
Or if she's going to stay with him, or if he's going to go with her and like leave Ketterdam, which would be crazy. But if they get the millions of crews that they want, it's a possibility, I guess. There's like so many options and stuff. I know that people are like talking about how it would be cool if she, well, I don't know if people are talking about, but just characters from the Grisha trilogy meeting up with characters from this one. I don't think that's going to happen, but I just want, I don't know. I don't know what I want. I want happiness.
I cannot imagine this duology ending with Kaz still not being able to touch Inej.
I feel like that has to happen.
Yeah, like I think being separated from her for an extended period of time, I don't know. I don't know if like as soon as they get together, he'll just like touch her and be like, "Whoa, I can do this," or if it'll take a little more than that. But I can't see the next book ending with them still in the place that they are at the end of this one, or towards the end of this one.
No, I feel
what
like.
Would you predict?
I mean, I'm predicting deaths, which I don't want to, but I don't know who. I don't want any of these people to die, but I feel like at least one of them has to.
It's hard, and I will share this with our lovely audience. This once upon a time legit turned into a fight between the three of us. Because it was like, well, characters don't have to die for the story to be good, even if it's a violent story. There are plenty of stories where the characters do survive, and there's still plenty of trauma, um, and plenty of feels. But at the same time, it almost feels inevitable that one of them, at least one of them, may, even though we don't want them to. And so we kind of like went back and forth at each other about those
Feelings.
elements.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a fight, like a cat fight. It was
No,
a discussion. It was an argument.
It was a heated discussion.
It was a heated debate. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and that was my thing. Yeah, I guess. I mean, what I meant to say was that, I'm like, I just don't want them all to die, and that's
I don't
what I
want
say about
them to
all
die,
books
but
and stuff, and it kind of went up from there because like Ellie was all like, no, it has to, it's like it's gonna happen because there's so many things going on and stuff. I'm like, I know, but I just don't want it to happen.
all right, I'm gonna put that there.
And so but yeah, I mean, I don't want any of them to die. And I know that there is that possibility as well, but I just don't want it.
Most
So
likely deaths.
Leigh, you need to change your story and make sure nobody dies.
Most likely
Except
death.
for the bad people, like Pekka. Pekka needs to go, and Vanek needs to go, and Tante needs to go.
You're allowed to kill the bad guys.
I know, all the bad guys need to go.
Deaths. Hang on, most likely deaths. Number one, most likely death, in my opinion, Wylan.
Of the six, I am
Of
going to
the
agree.
6, Wylan. Number 2,
Nina.
see, I was thinking Matthias. But Nina, I feel like the two of them are kind of equal.
I feel like it could be either of them if there's going to be.
Yeah, okay, so here's my biggest fear.
Mm-hmm.
Kaz and Inej will get together, and he will be okay with touching her, and then she'll die. That is my biggest fear.
Okay.
But it's possible. It's heartbreaking, but it's possible.
So other than death, what is other than death in relationships, I shall say, what are our other...
I have no idea. I have no idea what else is coming.
I'm hoping for, I think it's more of a hope than a prediction, that Kaz is going to have his, like, hello, I am in the Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die moment.
Yeah.
I just really want him to have that moment after he's been working with Pekka for all this time, and I would assume, or I'm going to hope that, they're successful on at least some level. And just when, Pekka thinks that he's used the dregs and Kaz's crew to the best of his abilities, and that he's successfully taken advantage of this young man, that Kaz just turns the tables on him like, bam, got you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I do not like Pekka. And
you don't? I thought you would have loved him.
Blah. Blah on you, Ellie. Yeah, I definitely, and it's kind of sad though. It's like to think that you want all kinds of bad stuff to happen to a fake character, but I want all kinds of bad stuff to happen to this fake character.
But it's a fake character.
I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, no, we shouldn't condone violence.
But it's a fictional character.
But I don't know. I just feel like there might be another way to, death is not the only way to get back at a guy. And so I'm just wondering, like,
Yeah.
what Kaz, can think of that would be worse than just dying, just killing him off. And and I want to see that. I'm being so mean right now. But no, obviously, after all that happened with him and Jordy and the bodies and stuff like that, I'm just like, Pekka needs to suffer something. And I'm not a torture type of person, but
How do
he
we
does.
think Nina is going to do with her heightened powers?
That is a good question.
Is she gonna get like addicted? Or is she
Well,
gonna be okay?
that's the thing. Like, that's something to think about.
Right.
Because we don't really know. They say she could be addicted, and they leave it so that she's weakened, but you don't necessarily know if she's full on addicted.
Right.
So do we think she's gonna grow stronger or like self-destruct over the next book?
Well, she's she's hidden away, right?
Well,
She's one of the
she's
ones
at
that.
the end. She's joined Kaz to team up with Pekka
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
to
So
get
they're
back.
all together again. Um, I think she's okay. I think she'll be okay. I think she'll be okay because Matthias is going to be there. and, and he's going to help her. Tear.
I mean, I think she's going to struggle with it. I don't think it's just going to be like I'm okay. We're cool.
No,
Um,
that's why I say Matthias is going to be there.
yeah, so she's clearly weakened. I think there might be some sort of struggle where they need to decide whether it's worth taking more of the drug or letting it play out. Um,
Well, since they have um, Bo's son, Bo Yulbayer's son,
mhm.
maybe he can help with that because he is still. Is he with
Right,
them at the
and
end?
I think it might come to that at the end. But I think there will be a little bit back and forth about what is the like right thing to do up to that point.
Well, yeah.
What
I
do we
think that's yeah, that's
what,
predictable.
what do we think will happen to Van Eck? In my opinion, I'd really like to see kind of Wylan get his justice against his father, even though I think that would be really bittersweet and possibly wouldn't turn out well. Like, we don't know where he is or really what he's up to, but clearly someone's going to have to take him down at some point.
Yeah, he has Inej.
Yeah.
So Kaz is gonna do his thing.
Kaz to rescue.
He's gonna get all medieval on it. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway,
Nice. That would be interesting.
We will find out in 269 days.
Not that we have a countdown, guys. We have a countdown.
I have a countdown for everything. Come on.
Yeah. Gosh. I'm just gonna predict that they're all gonna live, and that Van Eyck is gonna be in prison, lost his son, lost his family. He's not gonna be a merchant anymore, and that Pekka is suffering somewhere in the ice court. And let's see what else is there. And Nikolai is going to give them all kinds of good money for being such awesome people in Ketterdam.
Nikolai's just going to show up and be
Right.
Yeah, like, hey, Nikolai, you know, because everybody wants to see more of Nikolai. It's like he just shows up in Ketterdam. Hey, I'm going to give these people money because they're cool. That's my end of Cricket Kingdom.
And then they're all going to ride off into the sunset together with rainbows.
Exactly. Did you know the movie's going to be made by Disney, okay?
There will be rainbows.
Okay.
Okay, so shall we make our big announcement for next month?
Sure.
Yay! Although I think we already talked about it last month.
We did. We did talk about it last month because we wanted to make sure that you had extra time to prep for this. Because we are doing our very first double feature. We will be joining you next on January 18th, which is the third Monday in January. And we will be talking about not one but two books, same series, of course. It is going to be Pierce Brown's Red Rising and Golden Sun, which are books that we're really enthusiastic about, and we wanted to talk about the first and the second instead of just kind of covering the second. So we are going to talk about that on the 18th, and we're going to spend a little extra time because we want to really dive into both books. So instead of the usual hour, we're probably going to go an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how exciting the conversation gets. And we're really looking forward to you joining us. In the meantime, you can tweet us at FandomNet. You can catch us at the Fandom on Facebook, and you can use the hashtag FandomFeels to talk about tonight's chat.
Or to talk about your excitement for next month's chat.
Yes, absolutely. Talk about your excitement for next month's chat, because we love that too. All right, so I think we're ready to say our goodbyes, unless you ladies have any further questions or comments.
I have no idea. We have a lot of exciting stuff. We're doing some giveaways on the website, thefandom.net, so check that out too.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, it's our 4-year anniversary for the fandom, and we just want you guys to keep coming to the site. So yeah, I hope you guys join us for Red Rising and Golden Sun. Golden Sun was another one of those books, the best books of 2015 that I consider. And so just we'll have a talk out about that, and if you want to join us, let us know even if you want to. If you want to be in part of the discussion or in part of our group, then let us know.
Yeah, come on in. All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Have a happy new year.
Happy New Year.
See you in 2016.
Woo!
Woohoo!